Hello to all, and welcome back to The Leadcast, Real Leaders, Real Talk. In the last episode, we got a chance to listen to Emilia tell us about her stories from House Council and her figure skating experience. And for today's episode, we are in a change of scenery. We are here at Boulan Park Middle School, which leads me to introduce you to my guest today, Mr. Morse, the principal. Hey, Mr. Morse.
Hi, Gargi. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Thank you for asking. Thank you.
Now, to start us off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your hobbies in your school life?
Oh, so I've been here at Boulan Park for about 15 years. I have two sons. I have a 20-year-old who's currently at Oakland Community College, and then I have a high school junior in Lake Orion. So really what my hobbies are whatever my kids are doing. So I do golf with them, but my son's a lacrosse player, and so I spend lots of time like going to his games, and really most of my time is just vacationing with my family or doing family things.
Wow, so you're like a big family person.
I am, yes. I think everybody is, right? Like I think that's,
totally.
My youngest son is close to your age, so like I'm soaking up every single minute till they go to college, and then you lose out on that time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. How did you end up as Boulan Park's middle school principal?
At the principal here? So I've been here, like I said, I was 15 years. So when I came here, I used to be a social studies teacher, and I taught everything from 7th grade social studies and 8th grade at middle school to government and econ and American history at a high school level. But I was a teacher in Madison Heights and a coach in Madison Heights, a varsity basketball coach. And then I became a principal there, a middle school principal there. And then I applied for a job to be the assistant principal here at Boulan Park, and I got that job. And then I was the assistant principal for 7 years, and I've been now the principal here for 8. And the time flies, right? It's an unbelievable place to work, and I love it here. So
I'm a Boulan Park alumni myself, so I come back here so much. Like the other day, like I was just talking about it, but like I was here a couple months ago just to say hi to my orchestra teacher, because I will never forget. I will never forget her. But this place is really
so fun when you all come back to, and it's hard sometimes if I go to Troy High or I go to IA, like we were talking about before we started. I see people, but I haven't seen them for 4 years, so it's hard because I want to remember everybody's name, and sometimes I don't. But it's just really great to see people come back and visit with teachers and come back and say hi to us. We wish people would do that more often. A lot of times the schedules just don't match for you all to come back, but we love it when everybody comes back.
Yeah. Adding on for you as a student, what was your favorite memory? Like just you as a student from school?
That's a long time ago. Well, I ended up as a social studies teacher, right? So I think what happens for most people when they become educators, whether that's you're an administrator, you're a teacher first, most of the time. I think what happens is you have someone that impacts your life and you make connections with. And so I think back to my high school economics and government teacher that really made an impact and made school fun and made learning really, really fun. And so I think back to that, and that's kind of one of the starting points to wanting to become a teacher, because it's not the easiest job, right? It is, but it's so satisfying and fulfilling. And so when I think back, that and sports and your friends, and as you get older, life kind of takes over and you don't have that. So I always tell people, just really cherish, like I tell students, cherish the time that you're not working all the time and that you're with your friends every single day and you get to hang out with them, because many times what happens is, specifically middle school and high school kids, they wish the years away. I can't wait for high school. I can't wait for college. I can't wait for graduate school or a job. Don't ever wish those times away, because those times are so important that you get to be with your friends and have fun and laugh. And not that you don't do that as an adult, it's just not the same as it is when you're young. So thinking about those times with some of my closest friends, and again, whether that's in clubs or activities or it's in sports or it's just in class, those are my favorite memories. I mean, I'm not going to say my age, but I'm older, and I still have friends that I went to elementary school with.
Wow,
which is really I know that's rare. Right, but I can think of my closest friends even as an adult, and there's still some of them I was in 3rd grade with, And so it's really great.
That's really cool. That's an amazing piece of advice. I feel like sometimes all of us, like in the heat of like exam season or like at the midterms, we're like, oh, when are we going to be done with this?
Yes.
And it's like, like it's part of the process. So it's like we have to cherish it.
Right. And that's hard to slow down. That's what I try to tell people is like slow down a little bit, right? Not wishing for your AP exams to be over or not wishing for the summer to get here, to try and slow down. It's easier said than done though for most people.
For sure. But being the principal of a school, you are responsible for like the staff body and like the student body, right? So today we're going to break down both of those aspects of like middle school, and let's focus on the staff part of it first. But okay, so teaching can be really demanding, right? And how do you support the staff in like a professional way and a personal way to make them feel at home?
So breaking those two down, the professional piece of it is really giving that time for collaboration and professional development and allowing them to hone their craft a little bit. Teaching is demanding and every single day is demanding, and it is one of those professions that you are continually learning. But when you start, it can be very overwhelming. So it's really important for young teachers to feel that sense of community within their whether that's in their content area or it's just in the building, but it's also being able to give them that time for professional development or to collaborate with their teaching partners. And so those things are kind of built at the district level that we support here at the building level. So professionally, a lot of that is built into their year and into their calendar, and it's really important for them to take advantage of that. We also try and support them if they find professional development that is outside of that. So giving them that time and space to be able to continue to grow and learn is really, really important. It's also important for veteran teachers to continue to hone their craft and look at new pedagogies and try to figure out maybe some things that they can add to their toolbox. I think that's professionally. Like personally, it is trying to develop a community, like an actual community where everybody respects each other, giving them the ability to voice. And so we talk a lot about like family here at Boulan. Like kids don't really hear us talk about things like that, but we do talk about that as a staff. We talk about how we really try to make it like a family. And families, everybody that is in a family knows that sometimes there's disagreements or sometimes there's some discourse that happens. And so you have to build it so teachers feel like they can come and they can vent and they can be honest and they can have bad days, just like everybody does. And it'll be okay, right? And support them through that. Celebrate everything. There are just wonderful things that happen here every single day, and we have to celebrate those. And Mrs. Hall and I, who we work very, very closely, we both have the belief that really the work that happens here, we may quote unquote lead that work, but that day-to-day work is our staff, is our teachers, it's our secretaries, it's our paraprofessionals. It's that they're really the ones that are really leading that work. We support it. We help hone it. We try to support them so they can do the best that they can do. That is a really important thing. I think when people talk about leadership, leadership is really relationships. That's really what it is, right? If you trust your, I'm going to use this term and I'm going to use quotes for this, boss, because we don't think of it that way. But if people trust me, I think that allows them to work at their best. And so we work really hard at that. And there are bumps in the road, and we try to work everything with honesty, so there isn't no one thinks there's an ulterior motive to anything. Yeah.
You basically led into my next question. I was literally going to ask you, how do you build trust as a principal with your colleagues?
Part of it takes time, right? Time's a huge thing, because when someone walks in, it was a little easier for me to move from assistant principal to principal because the staff had worked with me for years. And so over that time, you build trust, but trust takes time. I think everybody walks in, and I think people give you the benefit of the doubt, but to really build full trust, it takes time. And it takes I'm going to repeat when I say honesty, because I make mistakes just like everybody else does. And so I need to be self-aware enough to to go to somebody and say, I made a mistake on that and I'm really sorry. And this is what I would do differently, or and how did it impact you and how can I help you? Mm-hmm. And so, those are the two things I would say. There needs to be time, but there also needs to be honesty for them to trust me to be able to build that. So,
that's cool. I like the two aspects that you talked about. Yeah. That's really cool. But when it comes to you working with all of your teachers and all of these teachers, what's one thing that you've learned from a fellow teacher that like really helped you like become the principal you are today?
One thing?
Like, yeah.
I don't know that there's one. I mean, I could probably name one thing from everybody. And that really, like, I'm constantly learning. And so if you can almost think of a school as like an ecosystem. And if someone leaves, right, that we had 3 teachers that you either had or knew really that were really institutional to Boulan Park, right? Mr. Havrilla, Mr. Leone, and Mrs. Taylor all left the same year. And that changes like your ecosystem. And so you bring new people on. And so I'm constantly learning, like, how do I support them? I would support Mrs. Taylor in a different way than I would support Mr. Bouquet, who's now the math teacher that took over for her. And so I think what I learn from them is again, I'm going to go back to that relationship piece. I learn how to support people based on our relationships and what they may need from me. I mean, I watch our teachers work with empathy. I watch them never give up, and I watch them work through frustrations and still give everything they can give every single day. So when I'm watching teachers do that, I have to model that as well, and that's what I want to model. So I don't know that learning from them, but they're like such an inspiration, I guess would be maybe a better way to put it. They're very inspirational. Even on May, we have like 17 days of school or something like that left. Even on May 7th, they're just working so hard. And even when students start to give up, or maybe a behavior isn't the way they want it to be, or a lesson didn't go the way they wanted it to go, just watching them persevere is really like inspirational for me. So I learn just continually learning from people, and I'm watching that all the time. And really asking questions. Like a lot of like learning is just asking a question. So what we try to talk to kids about, which is very, very difficult for them, is just asking a question. If you don't understand something, like to go and ask. And that is not the easiest thing to do, right? It's not the easiest thing for you to send me an email to ask for this, right? It's not. Yeah. But at the same time, like, those are when the best things happen, right? And what's the worst? I say, no, I can't do it, right? But kids are difficult, have a difficult time with that sometimes. So I know that is tangent off on that.
You're totally good. Yeah, I mean, I love the way you talked about how leaders are continuously learning, because that is so true. When we talk about leadership, I mean, I feel like people define it as, oh, you are at the top of like the power chain, I guess. You have the most power, you are the leader. But then they forget to think about the fact that they themselves are also continuously learning. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And if we switch gears to the student body now, having been a BPMS alumni myself, I know better than anyone that the student body is so diverse over here at Boulan.
Yeah.
But how do you make sure as the principal that this diversity is heard and valued?
Yeah, so it starts with just listening. Right? Like listening to kids and listening to what the experience they're going through. And then celebrating the diversity. Like, we've really tried to lean into the fact that this is like, I tell people who don't work in Troy, right? I have friends that are in education that work in other districts or in other states. And I tell them, if you were to walk into Boulan, that is what the world looks like. Right? It is very diverse, very accepting. Do middle schoolers make mistakes? They sure do, right? But the reality is most people that almost everyone that goes to Boulan, they grow up in a community where their neighbors are maybe a different race or religion. And so we really try to celebrate that. On the 11th, we have our celebration of learning. And were you involved in the first year of that? I thought you were.
Yeah.
And so this is year 3. So that would have made sense because it was your 8th grade year, the first year. So that is on Monday. So it's in next week.
Nice.
And so that is one way to really celebrate and welcome the diversity from the community into the school. So not only is it just the student body that's celebrating it, but it's also our community and our parents and grandparents and everybody that would like to come in and just take part in that with us. So that's a couple ways.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, just a little short story here. Well, in my 8th grade year, it was called the Global Showcase.
Right.
It was really fun. We started that up actually. It was a whole adventure. We went through so many ups and downs, and then I just remember because I had web as a class, and it was 4th hour, and we would be running back and forth to Miss Hall. We'd be like, "Can we get this approved? Can we get this approved?" Oh my gosh, we went through we had so much fun that year.
You should stop by.
I totally will.
Because the first year, you're right. Like you guys really got that launched, and it has just grown exponentially. So you should stop by.
I will totally stop by. Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just, I stop by every year, and it's so fun to see how it's evolved throughout the years. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Then middle schoolers are also sometimes, a lot of the times, really scared to talk to new people. And they tend to stay in their own little friend circles of I have something in common with these people, so I'm going to stay in this little enclosed circle. And in what ways does Boulan help promote this student communication within their grades and cross grades?
Yeah, you have a little insight into this, right? Because our web program that you mentioned is huge. So it's 58th grade students. Just to talk a little bit more, I know you know this, but it's 58th grade students, and they're paired up with between 10 and 15 6th grade students. Because typically what we see is the transition years are the ones where students really kind of just go to who they're the most comfortable with, and it's a little bit difficult sometimes for them. And so same thing would be said for 9th grade, right? 9th grade is the same thing when you start into a big high school, and it can be the same way. And so we work really hard in that. You think about clubs, or you think about sports, or you think about anything that's after school. Tonight is our 5th grade parent orientation, and we talk to our 5th grade parents about the power of involvement. And so we want students to be involved outside of 750 to 240. We want them involved because what it does is it has students feel really connected to the school when you're not just here for class, whether that's an after-school club, or it's a sport, or it's any sort of activity that you're involved in. It brings you more connected, and it also widens your circle. That's another thing we talk about, is widening your circle. And so here's your circle of friends, and then how do we widen that where you end up? I'm sure you have different friends than you did when you walked into Boulan Park in 6th grade, right? So I talk about that year because that's such a pivotal point in middle school and 6th grade, because elementaries are their own ecosystems that are just smaller, and then you bring them all together into a bigger one, and then you do the same thing in high school.
Yeah.
That just becomes bigger. So it's really important that students get involved outside of just their class. You're naturally going to meet new friends as you're traveling your classes, but where you really connect with students is things that are outside of there. There's a little bit more freedom, right? You can talk. There's different things not that you can't talk in class, but I just mean that there's the opportunity to really develop a relationship that can sometimes be different than just being in class with somebody.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, coming into 6th grade, I went to Bemis Elementary, which is right across the street. And coming into Boulan, I knew basically 70% of the grade already, because all of the Bemis people who come in they all just go to Boulan.
Yep.
So I knew a bunch of different people. And then I think I wouldn't be the person I am today without doing the clubs I did in middle school. Right. Because I never thought about doing theater ever in my entire life before I came to Miss Held's 6th grade ELA class. And she teaches ELA here, ELA in LA, and she is a huge person on theater. She loves theater. She's really amazing. And she was like, I think you should try it out. I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Yeah. So then I tried it out my first year in 7th grade, and I was like, wow, I love it. And I still do theater every year. So I think middle school really does shape who you are as a person. So
there's over 100 students that participate in our theater club.
Whoa.
And so that is a perfect example. And many times it's sixth graders, and many times that it's students that that's their passion. And so it allows them to connect with other people that they might not know that are passionate about theater.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. But can you share a moment in your like teaching or like principal experience that you have had a student who's impacted you so much and changed your perspective on something as a leader?
Oh my gosh. There's so many, right? You want me to like embarrass you? I'll talk about you.
Sure.
You want me to do that? There are, I won't use you as I won't use just you, right?
Yeah.
But each year, and this really truly is each year, as you watch students from a really developmental, they're developmental all the way through middle school, but coming in as an 11-year-old typically, and then leaving as like a 14-year-old, you see so much change that happens there, and you see so many leaders grow. And so, and I'm going to talk about leadership because that's kind of the theme that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so you see students that as they're going through as they're offered opportunities, you watch them flourish in those opportunities. And we see it a lot with our web students. Mm-hmm. And so you're like a perfect example, right? Like you're talking about coming in and like, can you ask questions of people? And can you do that as like an 11-year-old? Are you comfortable doing that? And I think there isn't one thing. Every year I watch students leave us and know, yeah, they're going to be great. They're going to be great. There's no, like you're a perfect example of when you left here, like, and I've told you this before, right? Like you left here and I've been in education a long time, 26-ish years, 27 years,
cool.
something like that. Like you left and I'm like, Gargi's going to be phenomenal. She'll be great. Like no matter where she goes, she's going to be great. And a lot of that has to do with like what leadership does sometimes is it brings out like a confidence level, not arrogance. Confidence. Mm-hmm. You talked a little bit earlier about leadership being like, I'm the boss or I'm the person. True leadership does bring out a confidence in you, but it brings like an empathy of the people you're working with and I'm trying to think of the word that I'm drawing a blank, but it brings out like an empathy of I'm a leader, but I'm working for people. Mm-hmm. I'm not working.
Like service.
I'm not. Service leadership. Yeah. That's exactly what I was looking for. And so I'm very lucky to be here with so many students that go and just do wonderful things. Because as they become adults, with the power of social media, because I'm connected to Boulan, and I watch students who are in law school or in politics or in teaching or in so many different ways, and they get connected back. One of my favorite things we're actually, Mrs. Hall and I are doing tomorrow. We started a tradition about 2 years ago where we go and visit a high school and we ask a senior, we surprise them and we ask them to come back and speak at promotion. So I'm not sure who came back and spoke at promotion for your 8th grade.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's that to us is so wonderful because they're getting ready to kind of start their adult lives and we get to go back and see them, and it's so hard. The process in which we go through to choose that person is so tough because this is, give you a little insight, we take the yearbook from your 8th grade year and the teachers go through and look at kids and say, oh my gosh, remember what they did? They were like, and then it creates this long list of students and then we have to narrow it down, which kind of stinks, but at the same time, it reminds you of how just wonderful everybody is. That we get connected with. So I can't give you one.
Yeah.
You're one. I'm going to tell you that you're
Thank
one.
you.
And like, but there are so many over the years. Even people, because as a principal, you have a different outlook than you do a teacher.
Yeah.
I have kids that I taught that will still reach out to me, and they're in their 30s, right?
Wow.
Like so.
Yeah.
That marks my age a little bit.
No, that's really cool though. I mean, I feel like, even just looking at it, like I'm already a sophomore now and it's like I'm already halfway through high school.
Yep.
But I mean, this place is super nostalgic to me. So middle school, I feel like it just brings out so many characteristics that I mean, when I was a web leader, I was like, wow, this is something new that I could do. And then I figured out that, wow, leadership is something I didn't know I had within me. And I was like, maybe it was there all along, but it's like, it really did bring it out. So that was a really cool experience. And since we're nearing the end of our episode today, I want to congratulate you on surviving the LeadCast hot seat here.
Thank you.
And lastly, every single guest finishes with the sentence, leadership means blank. So what would you put in that blank spot?
Leadership means... I think leadership means service. You jogged my memory for that, but I think it's perfect. If you are going into leadership for power or for ego, you're only going to be so successful. You have to lead people through service, and you have to lead through, working with them, not having them work for you.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good perspective. I think, again, coming back to like the whole like situation of like power of like, you're really not like, it's like you want to work with these people and not just tell them what to do, that type of situation. Yeah. And to our viewers, if you thought today's guest was amazing, wait till you hear who's next. I'll give you a hint. She's an amazing dancer. For everyone, thank you so much for listening. And I want to thank Mr. Morse for being on the show today.
Thank you, Gargi. Appreciate it.